race fans, and welcome to Austria. Here we are on beautiful Red Bull Ring, the home of Austrian Formula 1 Grand Prix. And we are on the starting grid just ahead of the first race of the 2025 Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. It is going to be the third season of that series. And as you can see, we already have the cars on the grid. And for the opening weekend of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship, it is actually record-breaking starting grid, as we do have 21 cars on the grid for the first race, with number 77 starting from the pole position. And it is the newcomer to the series, Bart Harrison, representing Jenser Motorsport. Speaking of this Swiss racing squad, I have to tell you that the Jenser Motorsport has been the most dominant team over the first and second season of the championship. As you may remember, in 2022, it was just F4 trophy. But beginning from 2023, we have F4 Central European Zone Championship, and the first ever champion was Ethan Isher, racing for the Jenser Motorsport. Last year, we have celebrated Oscar Wurz as a new champion, also racing for Jenser Motorsport. Will this be another year for Jenser Motorsport? Let's wait and see. We have 7 cars on the grid entered by Jenser. Another 4 cars entered by another Swiss team, Maffei Racing. And as I said previously, we have 21 cars to start the first race of the season. Record-breaking grid, and 2 cars from Jenser Motorsport in the first row. So it is a Jenser Motorsport front row lockup at the beginning of the year, and it looks very, very good. As I said, it is Bart Harrison starting from the pole position. Beside him with number 48, it is Gino Trappa, another Jenser Motorsport guy, starting from P3. It will be the first non-Jenser racer, Luca Visoreanu, representing his Romanian team, Real Racing. We also have 3 ladies on the grid, and we are more than excited to watch everything, of course. So let's get ready for some racing action. As you can see, the grid is being cleared at the moment. So in a few minutes, the first race of the weekend will be started, and of course it will be with me from the commentary box. So join us in a few moments for the race start, and make sure you don't miss this.
The green flag is now in the air, signalling that everything is ready for the starting procedure to begin. He surprised everybody and he goes into the race lead. Fantastic start. So, there's a big crash. Around the outside, and he takes the second place.
One more time, hello and welcome to Austria. Here we are on beautiful Red Bull Ring racetrack. This is the home of the Austrian Formula 1 Grand Prix. And who knows, maybe we are going to watch one of the future Formula 1 stars here in the third season of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. We are just about to start the first race of the new campaign, the first race of the new year, and we couldn't be more excited. As you can see, we have our poleman on the grid. It is Bart Harrison representing Jensen Motorsport, starting from pole position. The driver number 77 beside him in the first row, it is Gino Trappa. It is Jensen Motorsport front row lockup for the first race of the 2025 season. In 2023, Ethan Isher was the champion for Jensen Motorsport. Last year, Jensen Motorsport was the most dominant team of the championship again, with Oscar Wurz winning the championship title and the Swiss squad also winning the team title. Let's get ready for racing. We can see 5 red lights, and the lights are out, and we are racing here on Red Bull Ring. It's a great start by Luca Visoreanu, who is trying to attack the poleman Bart Harrison in the first corner. But after all, it is still Bart Harrison leading the way through the first corner. Oh no, there was a contact between two drivers who went wide in the first corner. And look at the battle for I guess, 4th place between the 3 Jensen Motorsport cars. This is a great battle into the 3rd corner here on Red Bull Ring. It is still Bart Harrison leading the way, but behind him it's very dramatic. Gino Trappa has lost his 2nd place, and he went down the order. You can see the drivers still warming up the tires, but we have safety car deployed. I believe this will be a safety car. Yes, it is confirmed from the race directory. So the safety car is deployed, and what a shame. We've got one of home Austrian drivers. This was Simon Schranz, the Austrian driver racing for home team Renauer Motorsport, and he is unable to continue in this race, so he's the victim of the contact from the first corner, and what a shame for the home hero. As I said on the grid, we have record-breaking grid for the season opening round. 21 cars on the grid for the first race, but only 20 cars has finished the first lap. Unfortunately for home hero Simon Schranz, the race has ended very, very early, and I'm curious to see what's happened there again. Yes, here it is. So we've got 2 cars. Oh, it was pretty unfortunate for Simon Schranz, because the Austrian driver got hit from his left-hand side firstly, and for the second time there was a second hit from his right-hand side, so he got hit from both sides of his car. He got some damage, and it means very early end in the race for the Austrian young driver. What a shame. It's a great pity for the Austrian driver. And we've got also number 6 in the pit lane. And that's a big problem for Renauer Motorsport, because we've got the contact of teammates. Number 6 is being driven by Hadi Mimassi, the Canadian newcomer. And he made a contact with Simon Schranz, with his teammate from Renauer Motorsport. So this is a big disaster for the Austrian team in the first race of the year. Oh no, oh dear. That's the basic rule of car racing. You should never collide with your teammate, and this is exactly what happened here. Just few moments after the lights went out. What a shame for Renauer Motorsport, and what a pity for the home team. But I believe the Sunday can be much better for the Austrian squad, as we gonna have another 2 races tomorrow, so still 2 chances for Renault Motorsport to score some points. Oh yeah, this was pretty unfortunate. And also we've got the third car, of course, involved, and you could also see the third car on the pit lane. And I guess the third car involved was Mathilda Patz, a young German female driver, one of 3 ladies on the grid. And most likely Mathilda Patz forced off Hadi Mimasi, and then Hadi Mimasi had the contact with his teammate Simon Schranz. So it was domino effect in the first corner, and very, very unfortunate situation for both Renault Motorsport cars. The marshals are working quickly to remove damaged car from the racetrack from outside of the first corner, so we can restart the race, and I believe we will see the green flags very early again. We can say that it was a great start by Bart Harrison. It was a tough job for him to maintain his first place, but he managed to do it. So Bart Harrison still in the first place, leading the race with his Jensen Motorsport car. Chase Fernandez actually in P2 at the moment. That was great start by Chase Fernandez. He was in P4 on the grid, so he gained 2 positions just before the safety car was deployed. Gino Trappa starting the race originally from P2. He is in P3 at the moment, so we have Jensen Motorsport car leading the race just ahead of AS Motorsport car in the second place, driven by Chase Fernandez. And then we've got another 2 Jensen Motorsport cars, Gino Trappa in P3, Javier Herrera in P4, and then we've got the Romanian driver Luca Visoreanu in P5 for Real Racing at the moment. So these are our top 5 drivers at the moment, with 18.5 minutes still to go. And I'm waiting for the signal from the stewards that the safety car will enter the pit lane again, but it is not happening yet. Safety car is leading the way into another lap. So after the 3 laps, we are still under the safety car conditions. Harrison leading the way, ahead of Fernandez, ahead of Trappa, Javier Herrera in P4, Luca Visoreanu in P5. Then it is Max Karhan, the Czech driver racing for Jensen Motorsport in P6. Of course, we know Max Karhan very well from this championship. If we take a look at the last season, Max Karhan was one of the championship contenders. Max Karhan finished the season in P3 with very, very good last racing weekend on Salzburg Ring, finishing first and second race in P3 and the last race in P2. So we are happy to have Max Karhan again on the grid of the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. But as you can see, the safety car will enter the pit lane in this lap, which means we are going to be green again here on Red Bull Ring. And the first race of the season will be soon restarted. Bart Harrison leading the way. Chase Fernandez in P2, Gino Trappa in P3, Javier Herrera in P4, Luca Visoreanu in P5, Max Karhan in P6, Nicolas Cortes in P7, P8, Bautista Acosta, P9, David Walter, and P10, another Czech driver, Theodor Borenstein. Bart Harrison is just waiting for the right moment to push the throttle to the bottom, and it will be his call at the race restart. We are in the last sector, second to last corner, and Bart Harrison is accelerating again. So the race is being green again, so let's go racing for the last 16 minutes. Bart Harrison on the main straight, just ahead Chase Fernandez, and Bart Harrison needs to be very careful because he may lose his first place here. Wow, what a great maneuver from the outside done by Chase Fernandez, but he was overtaking outside the racetrack, so he might be forced to give his position back. But at the moment it is still Bart Harrison in the first place, ahead of Fernandez, and Gino Trappa closely behind them. And at the moment it's the fight for the second place between Gino Trappa and Chase Fernandez. Gino Trappa going through the inside line and takes the second place. Great job by Gino Trappa. Driver from Argentina. He is retaking his second place, lost after the race start. And this is a good situation for our race leader, Bart Harrison, because he is gaining an advantage over Chase Fernandez and Gino Trappa. So Gino Trappa in the second place at the moment, Fernandez P3, Javier Herrera P4. And let's check the standings on the main straight again, and also be careful about the track limits at the exit from the last corner. We've got some penalties in the TCR race. That's the place where every driver can very easily breach the track limits, so just be careful to avoid any penalties. Here we are again on the straight from the furthest to third corner. Bart Harrison is leading the race with a decent gap over 1 second, and look at this battle between two Jensen Motorsport cars. Into the third corner goes from the outside. It's number 23 actually, that's Nicolas Cortez, the Mexican driver. And Nicolas Cortez is trying to overtake the Czech driver Max Karhan. That was the fight for the P6. So far it's been very clean racing from all the drivers, so kudos to that. Small look up from one of the drivers, and position lost. It was around 7-8 place maybe. Here is the group with Max Karhan and also Nicolas Cortez. Here are the closest gap at the moment. And also look at Chase Fernandez. He's trying to overtake Gino Trappa and to retake the second place. So let's be focused on that. Oh no, there was a mistake by one of the Jensen cars. The driver went very wide and off the track, although he was able to rejoin the race without taking any damage, and that's the most important thing. We are still racing on the green flag. 12.5 minutes to go in the first race of the 2025 Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship season. Look at this battle between two Jensen Motorsport cars. It should be the battle for the fourth place actually between Javier Herrera, Max Karhan and Luca Visoreanu. It should be Javier Herrera driving in P4 and battling with Czech driver Max Karhan and Romanian guy Luca Visoreanu. Still very close racing for P4, P5, P6, P7 and P8 eventually. But in the meantime, very good situation for Bart Harrison. The British driver is leading the way, and he is still making his gap over Gino Trappa bigger and bigger. He leads the race with more than 3 seconds over Gino Trappa. Chase Fernandez closely behind Trappa. Javier Herrera in P4, Max Carhan in P5, Luca Visoriano in P6, Nicolas Costa in P7, Bautista Acosta in P8, David Walter in P9, and Theodor Borenstein closing the top 10 at the moment for Maffei Racing. We've got two Maffei drivers closely behind each other. David Walter just ahead of Theodor Wallenstein. That's P9 and P10 with 10 minutes to go. Still Bart Harrison leading the race, and he's getting to be a bit lonely up in the front, which is of course a good news for him. He's taking the maximum advantage from the battles behind him. This is Theo Schorup, another Jensen Motorsport driver, racing with number 21. Another driver racing under Argentinian license. And I guess there was some problem for Theo Schorup, or some problem with his car, because Theo Schorup was starting the race from P10, and we've got him in P19 at the moment, so he lost 8 or actually 9 places if we compare his starting position with his current position in this race. So most likely there was a problem to his car, and that's the reason why we have Theo Schorup back in the standings in a P19 at the moment. And still we can see a close battle between Gino Trappa and Chase Fernandez for second place. 8.5 minutes to go, still plenty of time for Chase Fernandez to try to find a way ahead of his Argentinian rival. This is Bart Harrison racing with number 77 for Jensen Motorsport. Oh no! And he is also making a mistake. He is also wide at the exit from the last corner. So he needs to be careful about the track limits. It wouldn't be good to lose a victory because of possible penalty for breaching the track limits. But at the moment we don't have any news from the stewards. So at the moment it should be safe for Bart Harrison, and the gap between him and Gino Trappa is almost 5 seconds. So there is no need for him to take any risks. He just can bring it home and celebrate the first victory in this championship. It sounds easy, I know, but still a lot of things can happen during the last 7 minutes of the race. Gino Trappa at the moment with a decent gap ahead of Chase Fernandez. Chase Fernandez is not sitting in the slipstream. There is a gap between these two cars, which is a good news, of course, for Gino Trappa. But both drivers are very, very wide at the exit from the last corner. So also warning for them. You could see Javier Herrera in P4, driving very carefully out of the last corner. He was exactly on the curb, how it should be. So Javier Herrera is doing a great job in the last corner. And this is what I was talking about a minute ago. Chase Fernandez is just not close enough to Gino Trappa to try to overtaking through the inside line in the third corner here on Red Bull Ring. It is also quite possible that Gino Trappa has his tires in a better window at the moment, because Chase Fernandez is driving behind him, which means he's getting more heat to his front tires, and it can be more and more difficult for him to follow the car ahead of him. So with 5 minutes remaining, it could be really tricky for Chase Fernandez with some overtaking attempts. But of course, let's wait and see what the future holds. We still have 4.5 minutes to go, and Bart Harrison is still the fastest guy on the racetrack. He's been fastest through the first sector in this lap, and he was also the fastest racer last time around with his time 1:32.5. For example, Gino Trappa in second place was lapping 1:33.1, so more than a half second on one lap between Bart Harrison and Gino Trappa. Great job by the British newcomer. So the season has started here on Red Bull Ring, and all the drivers are coming back to Austria also in the middle of May, because also the second race, or the second race weekend, will be held here in Austria, in Styria, from 17th to 18th of May. We're gonna see another 3 races of the Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship here on Red Bull Ring. Then we go to Salzburg Ring. Then at the end of June and at the beginning of July, we've got another race weekend in Most. Then Slovakia Ring and the big season final in Brno during the 1st September weekend. So that's the 2025 season. And I believe it will be very exciting till the very last lap of the very last race, just as it was last year. Chase Fernandez is still not giving up. He is still pushing, and Gino Trappa can see his opponent in his mirrors very well, and also very close. 2 minutes to go. Less than half a second between Trappa and Fernandez. This could be great battle for second place. In the last lap, we could see Gino Trappa making a big mistake at the exit from the last corner. Now, the lap later, he was driving there much more carefully, but Chase Fernandez is getting closer and closer. So it either will be a Jensen Motorsport 1-2 finish or double podium for Jensen. But look at this battle. Huge lockup by one of the drivers. Most likely that was Mathilda Bartz, the German driver with number 188. She is in the middle of a huge group. We can also see one of Yannick Motorsport cars over there, the red and white car. That's the newcomer David Gorčica in P13 at the moment, fighting with Mathilda Bartz, Bennett Gaspar and Michalina Sabaj for P11. Great battle between these two young drivers. Let's wait and see for the results. But we have only 20 seconds left, which means very soon we gonna see a checkered flag shown for Bart Harrison. He is doing amazing job. This was amazing race for Bart Harrison, and the young British driver has been really quick so far over the weekend. He won the qualifying. He took the first ever pole position for him in the FIA Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship. And right now we see Bart Harrison alone up in the front, going for his first ever race victory in this series. So the young British driver is entering the last sector of the Red Bull Ring, and really soon we're gonna welcome him on the main straight. This was second to last corner. This is the last corner. He stays on the curb, and here he is. The checkered flag is out, and Bart Harrison wins the first race of the 2025 Formula 4 Central European Zone Championship season. Great job done by the British driver racing for Jensen Motorsport, and it is 1-2 finish for the Swiss team as Gino Trappa takes the second place ahead of Chase Fernandez in P3. Chase Fernandez racing for AS Motorsport, the Slovenian team. Luca Visoreanu takes P4 for a Real Racing, and then we've got another 3 Jensen Motorsport cars. Javier Herrera in P5 ahead of Max Carhan in P6 and Nicolas Cortes in P7. David Walter, the Danish driver, racing for another Swiss team, Maffe Racing, in P8. Bautista Acosta, another Jensen Motorsport driver, finishing the race in P9. Another Czech driver, Theodor Borenstein, on a P10, racing for Swiss team Maffe Racing. By the way, he is here on Red Bull Ring together with Tomáš Enge, the only Czech Formula 1 driver who is being his driver coach this weekend here. So great mentor for young Czech driver. In P11 it is a Hungarian driver, Bennett Gaspar, racing for Hungarian team Zunge Motorsport. David Gorčica finished the race in P12 for Yannick Motorsport. Mathilda Bartz, she is the best female driver of the race on P13, racing for family team Mathilda Racing, which is being run by the Slovenian AS Motorsport. Then we've got Michalina Sabaj in P14. Danish driver Nikolaj Dirbet racing for Maffe Racing on P15. František Němec racing for F4 CEZ Academy in P16. Romuald Boquet, the second Yannick Motorsport driver, on P17. Henny Performance driver Chiara Henny in P18. Theo Schropp racing for Jensen Motorsport in P19. And that's all. Hadi Meimassi and Zion Trans were forced to retire their cars after the contact from the first corner. So we have 19 racers making it under the checkered flag. The 2 racers were forced to retire after the contact, which happened a few moments after the lights went out in the first corner. It was a great chain for Race1 Motorsport because Hani Mimasi and Simon Schranz, they both are racing for the Austrian squad, and they made contact with each other in the first corner just a few moments after the race has started. But sometimes also this is racing, sometimes also this is motorsport, and I believe there will be another chance for the Austrian team tomorrow in the second and the third race respectively. So one more time you can check out the results. Bart Harrison winning the first race ahead of Gino Trappa. 1-2 finish for Janssen Motorsport here on Red Bull Ring. And of course we will be back tomorrow for race number 2 and race number 3.